Hi, I'm Richard Karn, and you may have seen me on TV talking about the world's #1 expandable garden hose. Well, the brand new Pocket Hose Copperhead with Pocket Pivot is here, and it's a total game changer. Old-fashioned hoses get kinks and creases at the spigot, but the Copperhead's Pocket Pivot swivels 360 degrees for full water flow and freedom to water with ease all around your home. When you're all done, this rust-proof anti-burst hose shrinks back down to pocket size for effortless handling and tidy storage. Plus, your super light and ultra-durable Pocket Hose Copperhead is backed with a 10-year warranty. What could be better than that? I'll tell you what, an exciting exclusive offer just for you. For a limited time, you can get a free Pocket Pivot and their 10-pattern sprayer with the purchase of any size Copperhead hose. Just text WATER to 64,000. That's WATER to 64,000 for your 2 free gifts with purchase. WATER to 64,000.
By texting 64,000, you agree to receive recurring automated marketing messages from Pocket Hose. Message and data rates may apply. No purchase required. Terms apply. Available at pockethose.com/terms.
This episode brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever find yourself playing the budgeting game? Shifting a little money here, a little there, and hoping it all works out? Well, with the Name Your Price tool from Progressive, you can get a better budgeter and potentially lower your insurance bill too. You tell Progressive what you want to pay for car insurance, and they'll help find you options within your budget. Try it today at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law. Not available in all states.
If your small business is booming and ready to expand, you might say something like,
"It's happening!"
Booyah!
Yeah!
Crushed it.
But if you need someone who can actually help protect your growing business, just say,
"Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there."
And just like that, your State Farm agent can help you get the coverage you need for your new space. For your small business insurance needs, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Welcome to Orioles on the Verge. This is Zach Spedden, joined as always by Bob Phelan and Nick Stevens. And on the heels of some recent promotions, including the jump of Blake Money from High A Aberdeen to Double A Chesapeake over the weekend, we're going to look at some players that have not been promoted yet, or at least have not moved up to the next level so far this year, and make the case for why they should be promoted at some point. Now, chances are you have heard us talk about these players in some form in the last few weeks, because all of them are playing well at their current levels. But tonight, we're going to take the opportunity to dig a little bit deeper into these players and talk about their cases for moving up to the next level. And I want to start with Nick here, because he's got an interesting range of prospects with his hitter, who's at High A, and then his pitcher, who's in the FCL, but making a very strong case for a look at a full season level before this season ends.
Yeah, my hitter, we'll start with this because it's a fun conversation. Some names instantly popped in my head when the topic was thrown out. And I'm like, I want to dig a little bit deeper. And maybe someone who, maybe not right now, they're ready to be promoted, but in the next couple of weeks, this could be a guy who makes some noise. And it's Aaron Estrada. I just think when this Aberdeen lineup was raking at the beginning of the year, and I wrote an article over on Substack saying, like, look, it's great that the college guys are hitting, but do not overlook Leandro Arias and Aaron Estrada, who are also off to blistering hot starts. Leandro Arias, I think, for the most part, has kind of followed that same trajectory as a lot of the rest of the lineup. But Estrada has just been very quietly played very well all season long, minus like a small stretch. He did just go 0 for 17, have an 0 for 17 slump this month. But since then, it's been 4 games since that slump. He has multiple hits in 3 of those 4 games. So overall, he's got a 118 WRC plus on the year. He's still just 20 years old. He doesn't turn 21 until January, so not until next season. He's 23 for 27 in stolen base attempts. Like, he's hitting for average. Walk and strikeout numbers are fine. He's stealing bases again, showcasing that speed. He has just 1 home run, though. And coming into the year, I said, I think what's going to separate him from his peers and put him in a tier above guys like Frederick Bencosme and Leandro Arias was that power. And it was weird because Arias was the guy who came into the system with high grades on the power and power potential. But I think it's kind of clear he's not going to develop that. And Freddie Bencosme, I've always kind of felt like his home run numbers were kind of misleading. And the power was not as much as the home run totals were showing. But then the guy who we thought had no power has all the power. in Aaron Estrada, which is awesome. And I just think once that power starts clicking, I think you see him moved up to Double A, and it could come as early as July, honestly, because it doesn't necessarily have to mean home run total climbed, but I think back to like when Kobe Mayo was in high A, and remember, I think it was you, Bob, who talked to him He talked to you specifically about this, how like, yeah, under the hood, like we're all happy with what I'm doing. Like the org is happy, I'm happy. It's just not result for whatever reason, weather, the stadium, whatever. It's just not matching. The two things aren't matching. And look what happened. Mayo gets promoted to Double A, and of course he raked in. Now he's in the big leagues. I'm not saying Estrada and Mayo are the same, but I could see the same kind of deal where the org says, "Hey, you actually have 3 home runs, but you should have 8 because everything else behind the scenes is looking great right now. You made the changes we want to see. You're lifting the ball more. Here we go. We're going to promote you to Double A. It's time for your next challenge." And I go back to Steve Molesky. I know just did a great interview. He got to interview Estrada and wrote a piece, and there was a data point in there that it said, "Yep, this is it." And this is a quote. I'm going to quote from Steve's piece. A quote from Zach Cole, the hitting coach in Aberdeen. He said, quote, "He's got so many tools in the batter's box. I would argue he has the highest exit velo on the team. And over the last, he has the highest exit velo on the team. And over the last few years, he's probably in the top 5 of some guys that have run through here. That combined with his speed he has is big. The low-hanging fruit for him is continuing to build more mature approaches and the slug right now. He hits the ball really hard, more so right now at lower angles, blah, blah, blah. Estrada puts up very good exit velocity numbers, averaging 92 miles per hour for the season, and he recently drilled one at 112 miles per hour. So he's hitting the ball hard, and he does, if you look, he's got like a 51% ground ball rate this season. So yeah, I think if he starts hitting the ball in the air, starts barreling the ball more consistently, I think he's going to be 20 years old and taking over multiple positions in Bowie because he plays every single position. I think he's played, second, short. I think he plays left. He plays right. He's a utility guy. He seems to take pride in that. And I got the vibe from Steve's article that this is talk about that growth mindset, talk about being just a guy in that clubhouse, a good presence, a good teammate, and everything else behind the scenes you love. Estrada seems to fit that bill. So just start lifting it a little bit more, and I think you see Estrada kind of become one of the next bigger international prospects in the system, start to take off a little bit more.
Yeah, I agree with exactly what you're saying with like under the hood. They have to be so pleasantly not surprised, but just happy with what he's doing. And it's just a matter of probably getting his at-bats. They're probably just waiting to reach a certain number, which is probably similar to the guy, my hitter, I'm going to talk about in a little bit. But Estrada, man, I think I was watching an early game on the broadcast, and they said he was like 3 for his last 32 or something coming into the series last week. And then he comes back out and just has a great week, like you said. So yeah, love the resilience. And I think it's just a matter of time. I think he's just got to probably, what is it, like 300 plate appearances they like to see before they move a guy up. So great call here. I love Estrada.
Yeah, this is a really good pick here. I've been really encouraged by Estrada's season. Because you could look at the home run total. He's only hit 1 home run this year. He only had 1 home run in Aberdeen last year in 26 games to end the season. But so far, extra base hits, 12 doubles, 5 triples to go with that home run. So he's up to 18 extra base hits total, which to me, knowing what a challenging environment Aberdeen is for home run hitters, that is really encouraging. And honestly, if I'm going to look at a player who can launch the ball, but maybe doesn't have the best exit velocities versus a guy that does hit the ball hard, but needs to work on the launch angle a little bit more, I'm going to take my chances with the person who needs to improve their launch angle because I think that that's going to be easier to fix as time goes on. And, truth be told, I don't think we're going to see the results from a home run standpoint until he's been settled in at Bowie for a while. Because, as you noted, Nick, he is hitting the ball on the ground a lot right now. And that's something you're going to have to continue to work on as he climbs the ladder. But he's made so much progress in the last year that I would not bet against him.
And let's also here are some other players that we talked about in the recent years that hit the ball really hard, but on the ground too much. Gunnar Henderson, Jackson Holliday, like really good players have had this issue. And again, he's incredibly young. So yeah, I would fully expect the launch angle to improve. Maybe not. I mean, at a certain point, your bat path is your bat path, but certainly think this is something that he will continue to improve as he gets a little bit older.
Yeah, just the 112. That's fun. And apparently he's added a ton of weight and muscle as well.
Yeah,
So
he's like 5'11", 200, something like that.
yeah,
Not the 5'8", 142 that's listed on Fangraphs.
which like how is MLB not making teams update these international guys? Because like it's kind of a joke at this point. Anyway, I'm 6'8", but my pitcher, this one's like easier. You guys have the upper arms. I wanted to go lower level just because like so much injuries in the upper levels. It's like, who are we getting? Who are we going to promote at this point? Because you got to stay at your level because your level needs innings. But Esteban Luna, and I don't remember if we talked about him on like an outside the top 30 segment. We probably did after I watched him pitch last time. If I'm repeating this, so be it. Learn the name Esteban Luna. He's had wrote an article up on Substack. It is up there. Is will this arm be the next breakout Orioles pitching prospect? He had a first outing in the DSL this year that was really good. 3 2/3 innings, 5 hits, 1 run, 1 walk, 7 strikeouts, and he had 13 whiffs in that outing. His second outing wasn't the whiffs weren't there, but he did get up to 4 1/3 innings and just 1 hit allowed. He was also like a tick higher. So he was more 89-90 in the first outing. He was 90-91 more so in the second outing. He can get up to 93, and we know I referenced a Josh Norris from Baseball America. He's got a great footage last year of Luna, and he said he's a 17-year-old kid who was 89-92 with 20 inches of induced vertical break, a, quote, nasty changeup and field spin to breaking balls. So the mold is there. Like the clay is there to mold. That is, he's repeating the Dominican Summer League again, but 2 really strong starts at, I don't know, I think Esteban Mejia is getting a lot of love nationally, specifically over at Baseball America the last couple of weeks. Of course, Keeler Morphe was the guy last year. Hopefully he's the guy again. But I think the next guy, as far as international arms to pay attention to, it's the other Esteban Luna.
Yeah, I do like this pick. He's fun to watch, and maybe it's just you got to assign more Estebans because these guys they're all pretty good, seemingly. So, yeah, I don't really have a lot to add, but I do like this pick, and it seems a little more rare that they bring a guy over from the DSL and promote him up to the FCL, but it has happened, and it has happened recently with Junior Abar getting the bump up from DSL to FCL, so not impossible. So, yeah, I like the pick.
Yeah, I like this pick as well. And, you know, it is a limited sample size right now. We only have 2 starts from Luna in the DSL. But if you want to look at where he had room for improvement at the end of last season, he's making strides. The walk rate last year, 12.9%. That's down to 9.4% so far. This year, the strikeout rate, meanwhile, has climbed from 24% to 31.3%. So as long as he's able to sustain this over his next few outings, I think that given that he has been tested in the DSL before and has shown that he can make adjustments, that the Orioles should give him a look in the FCL before the season ends.
Do Crohn's disease symptoms keep coming back? Tremfya guselkumab may help. At 12 weeks, rapid symptom remission was achieved in most patients taking Tremfya, and some experienced visible improvement of their intestinal lining at 12 weeks and 1 year. Individual results may vary. Tremfya is a prescription medicine used to treat adults with moderately to severely active Crohn's disease. Serious allergic reactions and increased risk of infections and liver problems may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check you for infections and TB. Tell your doctor if you have an infection, flu-like symptoms, or if you need a vaccine. Explore what's possible and ask your doctor about Tremfya today. Call 1-800-526-7736 to learn more or visit tremfyaradio.com.
Hi, I'm Richard Karn, and you may have seen me on TV talking about the world's #1 expandable garden hose. Well, the brand new Pocket Hose Copperhead with Pocket Pivot is here, and it's a total game changer. Old-fashioned hoses get kinks and creases at the spigot, but the Copperhead's Pocket Pivot swivels 360 degrees for full water flow and freedom to water with ease all around your home. When you're all done, this rust-proof anti-burst hose shrinks back down to pocket size for effortless handling and tidy storage. Plus, your super light and ultra-durable Pocket Hose Copperhead is backed with a 10-year warranty. What could be better than that? I'll tell you what, an exciting exclusive offer just for you. For a limited time, you can get a free Pocket Pivot and their 10-pattern sprayer with the purchase of any size Copperhead hose. Just text WATER to 64,000. That's WATER to 64,000 for your 2 free gifts with purchase. WATER to 64,000.
By texting 64,000, you agree to receive recurring automated marketing messages from Pocket Host. Message and data rates may apply. No purchase required. Terms apply. Available at pockethost.com/terms.
I'll go ahead now, and I'm going to go with my pick. I'm going to start with my pitcher because it's the choice that doesn't jump out at you immediately, and it's really, for me, more of wanting to see what this guy has at the next level, and that's Peter Van Loon. Van Loon has gotten the bump to Norfolk on a couple of occasions this year, but it's really been in situations where the Tides have been out of arms and they need some length out of the bullpen. So on April 26th, he had a long relief outing against Memphis. He went back up on May 25th for a long relief outing against St. Paul. Otherwise, though, all of Van Loon's appearances so far this year have been down at Double-A, a level that he has shown already that he can master. Let's go back to last year. Van Loon missed the first few months of the season with an injury. He was coming off the kind of season at Bowie where when you looked at it at first glance, it wasn't very good. But then when you started to dig a little bit deeper, he had good strikeout numbers, some bad luck with fly balls. Last year, everything turned around for him, and he was great for the Bay Sox. 47 to third innings pitched, 2.66 ERA in 12 games, 11 of which were starts. Struck out 61 batters while walking 21. This year with the Bay Sox, he's thrown 26 innings, and the strikeouts have been at about the same clip they were last year. And the walk numbers have stayed consistent. So he's still missing bats. The walks might be a little bit high, but when Van Loon is on, he can pair that a pretty effective curveball with a fastball. He can move in any part of the strike zone and find success. Really, for me at this point, it's just wanting to see what Van Loon has at the next level, because I really don't think that he has anything left to prove at Double-A. Now, as we talked about a lot on our last show, Chesapeake, with the injuries that they have had this season, needs all the arms that they can get. But if the Orioles are set on using Van Loon out of the bullpen this year, which they seem to be, considering that he's only made one start, then I think that they might as well give him the bump up to AAA. He's 26, see what he has, and if he can be successful there, great. If not, then you can reevaluate. But this is a guy that I just don't think has anything left to show you at Double-A.
You have to be a Van lunatic to think that he should still be in Double-A. Yeah, is that who we're talking about?
Yeah, and that's I feel the exact same way. It's like, do I think like something's ever going to click and he's going to be like, oh, he's a Norfolk starter, and should we put him on the 40-man? Like, I just want to see him in AAA. The exact same thing, like you said, because this is a guy who also, when he went to the Arizona Fall League, I remember him getting some national love. And I think like MLB Pipeline being like, oh, this stuff's actually pretty good. And it's fine. He got 4 innings in AAA this year, and small sample, but you know, he's got three of his 4 offerings between a 100 and 103 stuff plus, well above average extension. Let's put him in the Norfolk's bullpen and let's just see what happens there. See if he can click. Let him adjust to that pro ball, the strike zone, all of that, and see what he can do over the second half of the season up there in Norfolk. Because he's still an interesting guy, and I know he's got a little small. It's a small but mighty like subsection of fan base. Guys who follow the minor leagues like really love this guy for good reason. He's been a pretty solid pitcher throughout his minor league career so far. And again, another one of these later round smaller school arms that the Orioles found and built up. And let's see what you got.
Yeah, and you know, those stuff plus numbers, they just match the eye test. If you're watching him pitch, it's like, yeah, nothing's going to blow you away, but he's got 3 to 4 good pitches that he can just mix and match and dot here and there. So yeah, I agree. He should be up. Houston Roth is up seemingly permanently into AAA, and he's had a modicum of success so far. And I think he's got a little bit worse stuff plus numbers, but he's making it work with his mix. So yeah, I'll never understand to have these guys that are like 30 years old and barely hanging on with like 7 ERAs in AAA, like the guy that used to be in Houston that I can't remember his name off the top of my head. But I give us our prospects up in AAA. That's what we want to see. But Yeah, that's all I got. Did you already talk about your hitter, Zach?
Now, so I'm going to dive right into my hitter now, and that's Dylan Beavers. It goes without saying, because we have said it repeatedly on this show, that Beavers is probably having the best season of his career right now at Norfolk. We spent a lot of our last episode talking about Samuel Basayo and the production that he's had. So Basayo might be the hitter that stands out the most in Norfolk right now, but Beavers has been one of the steadier presences for the Tides this season. After a really slow start to the year, he dug himself out of the hole in a big way. And as of this recording, 304 batting average, a 132 WRC plus, the lowest strikeout rate of his career over a full season at 19.3% to go as a 13.6% walk rate. And I pull up his player card over at prospectsavant.com, and there's a lot of red on it, which is good to see. He's in the 64th percentile in strikeout percentage, 80th percentile in walk percentage, zone contact rate, 74%, swinging strike rate, 86%. He's making consistent contact in the zone. He's not chasing very much. And that's a formula that you really got to like to see, because that's something we've talked about. The Orioles preach with players, but Heston Kjerstad, we're going to talk about a little bit later on, that's not the kind of hitter Heston Kjerstad is. He hasn't been that hitter at AAA. He hasn't been that hitter in the major leagues, and he has struggled. And when we did a compare and contrast recently on Beavers and Kjerstad, Nick, I think you made a great point, which is that Kjerstad has much louder contact when he gets a hold of the ball, but Beavers is probably going to be the guy that makes contact more consistently. So I especially feel like, too, that the Orioles outfield is going to go into this offseason with a lot of question marks. Tyler O'Neill has been banged up this year. Can you count on him to be an everyday outfielder going forward? Cedric Mullins is going to be a free agent, if he's even still with the Orioles at the end of this season. Colton Cowser right now looks like he might be the only certainty in the outfield, especially with Ramon Laureano also heading to free agency. So if and when the opportunity comes up, I think that the Orioles should promote Beavers, give him the opportunity to play. Don't sit him against lefties consistently, because from what we've seen this year, he can actually hit lefties a little bit, and just at least see what you have. At least go into the offseason knowing, is Dylan Beavers an option for you? And if he's an option, is it as an everyday player? Is it as a platoon bat? Is he just a solid fourth or fifth outfielder to have there? Whatever it is, I think you want to find that out, because it's going to affect a lot of plans for the offseason, because there's going to be some holes in this outfield, and unless you can fill one or two of them internally, you're going to be spending a lot of trade capital and money trying to plug in those holes.
Yeah, I like what Beavers has done. We've talked about this a lot, but if not even just that first week, but if you look past the first week or first 2.5 weeks or so, like on the season, his strikeout rate's 19.3%, which is really good. And his walk rate is 13.6% over 228 plate appearances. Well, if you just eliminate like 30 plate appearances or so over his last 45 games / 192 plate appearances, he has an identical 14.1% walk rate and strikeout rate. So he's not swinging and missing. He's taking his walks. He's very selective. And in that time span, since April 8th, he's batting .331 with a .924 OPS, 169 ISO. He's going to give you doubles. He's going to give eight of them, to be precise, 2 triples, 5 home runs, 17 stolen bases in 20 attempts, 152 WRC plus. He's just really come onto his own, and he's been super consistent since that first week or so. And the way that Heston Kjerstad kind of failed out of the majors this year, and obviously he's back in AAA now, and he's clearly working on some swing adjustments, because he definitely does not look like Heston Kjerstad standing up at the batter's box at this current moment in time, and he could still turn things around. But in the meantime, I mean, you got Dylan Carlson, who's been performing really well, and he's under control next year too. But especially if you trade Cedric Mullins at some point this season, just give Colton Cowser that center field job. I would love to see Dylan Beavers come up and just get an extended run in a corner outfield spot to see what you got.
Yeah, and I could see Beavers coming up soon. I would think, because like Beavers is definitely a guy like you're not going to play the Rookie of the Year games with. Like, as much as I love Dylan Beavers, is he going to be in contention for Rookie of the Year compared to Samuel Basayo? I don't really think there's a competition there. But even just a lot of things he's done very well this year, he's getting even better. I pulled up his card now and then his card in the Substack article I wrote. And since then, he ran into a wall, which this is just a spatial awareness thing among all Orioles players, apparently, finding where the wall is. But like since then, this has been a couple of weeks. Like the max EV and 90th percentile is still the same, but his average exit velo is up 2 ticks to 88 miles per hour. His hard hit percentage is up from 40% to 44%. The strikeout rate is even better, as you guys have touched on here. The walk rate is still maintaining about the same. In zone contact rate, it's up a tick. Like the whiff rate are down almost 2 ticks. Like the chase is down almost a full tick, down to 21%. Like everything he was doing the best at this year, he's even better in the last month of the season. And like, bring him up. Cause especially after the deadline, if moves are made and certain guys go, like I see no reason why Beavers, if he's going to continue to play like this, there's no reason he should still be in AAA. Just bring him up. He's Rule 5 eligible. So you're either going to have to trade him or add him to the 40-man anyway. Why not just get him on the 40-man, get him up in the major leagues, get him some at-bats now, especially if you're going to move on from some of these guys and see what he's got in the big leagues.
Yeah, bring Kyle Tucker light up and then bring in Kyle Tucker heavy to put him under his wing in the offseason.
I truly don't understand though, like how this guy hits a baseball. This swing, I love it. It weirds me out every time. And it feels like the harder he hits the ball and those home run swings are the worst. They're like the funkiest. I don't want to say worse, like they're bad. They're just funky. And I love it. And it's working so well for him right now. It's awesome to see.
It's like if Hudson Haskin would have worked out.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. You chose to hit play on this podcast today. Smart choice. Progressive loves to help people make smart choices. That's why they offer a tool called Auto Quote Explorer that allows you to compare your Progressive car insurance quote with rates from other companies. So you save time on the research and can enjoy savings when you choose the best rate for you. Give it a try after this episode at progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Not available in all states or situations. Prices vary based on how you buy.
Hi, I'm Richard Karn, and you may have seen me on TV talking about the world's #1 expandable garden hose. Well, the brand new Pocket Hose Copperhead with Pocket Pivot is here, and it's a total game changer. Old-fashioned hoses get kinks and creases at the spigot, but the Copperhead's Pocket Pivot swivels 360 degrees for full water flow and freedom to water with ease all around your home. When you're all done, this rust-proof anti-burst hose shrinks back down to pocket size for effortless handling and tidy storage. Plus, your super light and ultra-durable Pocket Hose Copperhead is backed with a 10-year warranty. What could be better than that? I'll tell you what, an exciting exclusive offer just for you. For a limited time, you can get a free Pocket Pivot and their 10-pattern sprayer with the purchase of any size Copperhead hose. Just text WATER to 64,000. That's WATER to 64,000 for your 2 free gifts with purchase. WATER to 64,000.
By texting 64,000, you agree to receive recurring automated marketing messages from Pocket Hose. Message and data rates may apply. No purchase required. Terms apply. Available at pockethose.com/terms.
I guess I'll go to my guys now. I will start with my pitcher because this was like the easy pick of the litter here. Keegan Gillies, for me, is the guy that just absolutely needs to be promoted. He's coming up on 100 innings pitched at the AA level now from 24 innings in 2023, 47 and a third last year, and 27 and 2/3 so far this year. He's got a 1.3 ERA on the season over those 27 and 2/3 innings, which is a 2.42 FIP, 2.52 xFIP, 31 strikes to 4 walks, a ridiculous 4% walk rate. 4% walk rate for a 6'8", 255-pound right-handed pitcher. That's insane. 31% strikeout rate, incredibly good. I don't know what we're doing here. The guy is 27 years old, and that's not any offense to him that he's 27 in AA. That's like, what are we doing here? Don't even promote him to AAA. Promote him to the freaking majors right now. Bullpen's pretty good in Baltimore, but yeah, this guy is like a potential mainstay in your bullpen for the next 6-7 years if he's going to pitch the way he has. I mean, he had a down year last year, but basically ever since 2023, and he showed blips of it. I think injury had a lot to do with his failures last year, but I mean, he is so lights out this year. It's a wipeout splitter. It's some mid to high 90s fastball. It's everything you want in a high leverage reliever. And he's 27 years old again. Like, let's do this thing, right?
And you would even think, like, all right, maybe there's something we're missing here. And the Orioles just be like, we like him, of course, but like we don't see a future of him here. Put him in AAA and see what he can do there. And if anything, trade him. Like, do something with him. Either get him up to AAA so other MLB organizations feel a little bit better about what he can do against better competition. And they're like, hey, we actually like this guy. Let's make a deal. And it's not going to be a major deal, but still, like, something. That's fine. Or just, yeah, this is the most mind-boggling one. And it's frustrating even more because you see Alex Pham sit and sit and sit. I don't know, he's probably built a home. Kids are moving in. Like, kids are going to school. His kids are going to be like have jobs over there in Bowie, Maryland at this point because he's never going to leave. And look what happened. He gets hurt. Like, Gillis is 27 years old. There was never any dream of him being a starter. You know exactly what his role is going to be. Just shove him up the system, let him sink or swim, and take advantage of this because these guys, these relievers can fall apart tomorrow. You have no idea. Most volatile position in sports. Take advantage of it. And like, why is he? I'm preaching to the choir. I know that, but like, why is he still just wasting his time in some random AA city when he should be much closer to the big leagues?
And like, don't get me wrong, I'm glad these guys have gotten the shot too. But Houston Roth is in AAA. Yeah. Dylan Hyde got his shot in AAA for a little while. Carlos Tavera obviously was in AAA before he disappeared again on the injured list. Like, Peter Van Loon has gotten a taste of AAA this season, but not Keegan Gillies, who was 27 and just like dominating AA hitters. Like, they have no chance against him.
Yeah, I really don't get why he's there. And in fact, he's kind of the reason that I suggested this segment because I felt like we needed to talk it through because I can't understand why he's still at Chesapeake. Honestly, I thought that there was a case to promote him to Norfolk at the start of this year. Because the numbers at Chesapeake last year, the numbers in AA last year, were largely inflated by a bad July. And when you looked at the underlying pitch metrics, it felt like everything was clicking for him. So put him up in AAA, see what you have, because the other thing, too, is he's Rule 5 eligible. So I think sooner rather than later, you'd like to know, is this a guy that we should protect? Do we not have to worry about him at all? Or kind of like what they did with Trey Mago last year, can you get some good enough innings out of him at AAA to get something for him in a trade, even if it is a bench bat or a bullpen arm at the major league level? Instead, they've left him down in AA, and the only thing that I think you really could have said about Gillis' season last year was the walks were high, and you want to see the walks come down before you promote him. Okay, I wouldn't balk at that too much, but the walks are basically non-existent this year. The strikeout rate hasn't really come down in the process. We're now over 2 months into the year. Why is this guy not in AAA yet?
Yeah, it's mind-boggling. And this is not a guy I want to trade. This is a guy I want to be in this bullpen over the next X amount of years, especially when he has options, he'll be cheap. I mean, I don't care how much they pay these guys. I hope they get $100 million. But the fact is he's going to be a cheap, cost-controlled relief arm with high upside, with options. Like, I don't know. I just don't know.
I mean, injuries were a major problem early on in his career, but like you said, he's up to almost 100 innings in AA. This is his third year in AA. There's no excuse. He's running a swinging strike rate of 20%. Guys they're not making contact at all against him. It's the numbers are just video game numbers. This is create a player down here in AA, and I truly don't get it. Yeah, this is the most mind-boggling one, and it's even more. I don't know. He could get to AAA and not go well at all, and he could never pitch in the major leagues. Like, I don't care. I want him to get a shot. It's like, I don't know. It's the most frustrating of them all.
If you can protect Cade Stroud from the 40 on the 40 man and from the Rule 5 draft, then you can definitely and should definitely protect Keegan Gillies. Not just because he was a guest on the show either. I guess I'll go into my hitter now, which is a little more reasonable that he hasn't been promoted yet. But to me, like, he's already 20 years old. He's getting old. He's getting over the hill. Now, Yasmil Boucher, catcher, who we've talked about, we did not have much respect for, at least just because we didn't know, coming into the season in Delmarva, and he's done nothing but hit, walk, and hit. He's batting .280 with an .854 OPS, 152 WRC plus, 17.7% walk rate, 22.4% strikeout rate, 156 ISO. He's got 10 doubles, 2 triples, 5 home runs. Just maybe they're just waiting to get that magic 300 plate appearance number before they bump him up. Because, I mean, Anutis Mordon's hitting like 175 in Aberdeen. I feel like I'd rather see Boucher, who can hit the ball incredibly hard, over 110. I forget the exact number that we might have heard in the past, but a guy that's just hitting the ball hard, hitting the ball often. He's not swinging and missing much. He's walking a ton. I want to see him challenged and get to that next level. I know Aberdeen could certainly use the firepower on offense.
And just the weirdest case, because I think we talked about this last time we talked about him. He is going to be Rule 5 eligible as well. And he's not even 21 years old yet, but here he is in A-ball and already Rule 5 eligible. So again, reiterate that point I think we made before as well. Something's got to change with these Rule 5 rules, at least with the international guys. But that's a tricky one, and that's another one where, I mean, you can delay it a little. You can protect him from the minor league phase of the Rule 5 draft at least. Nobody's going to take him in the major league phase. You can protect him in the minor league phase pretty easily. But next year, like, you're going to have to make this decision again. You can only hide him for so long. Yeah, let's start moving up the system a little bit. See what you got.
I would really love to know what the organization thinks about Boucher on defense, because so far this year, he's got almost an even split between catcher and first base. 24 games behind the plate compared to 21 at first. And as I pointed out on one of our episodes recently, throughout his career, he's always had a good catching prospect alongside him, at whatever level he's played at. And that was the case at the beginning of this year when Miguel Rodriguez was healthy. It seemed like Rodriguez was going to be the primary guy for the Shorebirds, but then he got hurt early in the year, and that's since become Boucher. The reason I bring the point up about the defense, though, is that you look at how the catchers are stacked in the minor leagues right now. You've got Basayo in Norfolk, Willems at Chesapeake, and then Ethan Anderson, who I think that they really want to give innings to behind the plate at Aberdeen. And that could be the one thing that keeps Boucher down in Delmarva a little bit longer, is if they just don't think the innings are there for him behind the plate. If, though, they are willing to play him at first base a lot, I agree with you, Bob, that would be a much-needed source of power for that lineup, because right now in Udis, Mordon and Anderson de los Santos are getting most of the time at first base, and neither of those guys is putting up a great season offensively. So I would really be curious to see what Boucher can do. And the other thing, too, is that we have seen where the Orioles can take guys who are a little bit young for the level. When they get to high A initially, they struggle and then turn them around. Creed Willems is a perfect example of that. Willems really struggled when he first went up to Aberdeen, but mastered the level the second time around. I think he's a better prospect now because of that experience. So if that's the worst case scenario that would happen with Boucher this year, I think they need to take a long, hard look at it, unless the innings behind the plate are the priority.
Yeah, and that very well could be, but I would imagine if you could switch places Mordon with Boucher, like, you can still, I would think you could still find him innings behind the plate. But I mean, I'm sure they know what they're doing as far as the development plan for Boucher. I just would like to see him challenged, because also want to make room at Delmarva for some guys to come up from the FCL as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I have a feeling that we're going to have a good group of players making that jump from the FCL to Delmarva at some point this season. And with that, more than we've already had. And with that, now we'll head into our final segment, Last Call, brought to you by Checker Spot Brewing. Located at 1421 Ridgely Street, Checker Spot is not far from Camden Yards. making it the perfect place for a pre or post game drink. And when you're at the ballpark this year, be sure to check out the beer stand behind home plate for one of Checker Spot's signature beers, The Bird is the Word. And for our final segment tonight, I'm going to bring up this question on the heels of Heston Kjerstad being optioned down to AAA, which happened last week after we recorded our episodes. After he struggled during his first truly extended run in the majors, have your feelings on Heston Kjerstad changed? Do you think he could still be a long-term contributor to the Orioles, or does that possibility now seem remote? Nick, I will start with you on this one.
I don't want to beat a man when he's down. Literally, he's down in AAA now. I think he's hanging on by a thread. Like, it's just the bat has to shine because the defensive experience is an experience that no one should be subjected to. We know you can't put him at first base to help that situation either. But the bat, call him Silent J, the bat has been completely silent this year. It's the average and max EVs are down a couple of ticks. The hard hit percentage is down. The walk rate has evaporated. The chase rate was approaching like 40% before they sent him down. Bat speed's down year over year. This is 2 years in a row now. The bat speed's tricked down. I'm cherry picking bad numbers, but like all the numbers are bad. And like, I don't know, outside of like, look at what he did in the minors. I don't see like, what is there to point to specifically that shows like hope? And I don't like, we did this with Grayson and Kowser and Mayo and Holiday. It was very easy to be like A, B, and C. Look at A, B, and C. They're going to figure this out. This is why. Give them time. Trust the process. Yada, yada. With Kjerstad, it's like, what's point A? Like, I truly don't know. And like, I'm genuinely curious if there's anything like you guys are seeing to remain hopeful, because like I'm not. And maybe we see something in the next few weeks. Back down in Norfolk, like he had that break between being sent down and then appearing in that first game. And I don't know if it was a mental reset reasons or it was because they identified a change and he was working with instructors behind the scenes, incorporating that before they get him into game action. Who knows? We'll see if there's changes this week when he gets like a full week of play. But this was his chance. Like the excuses I feel like are kind of run out. Like, yeah, you got the myocarditis, you had the hamstring, you had the concussion last year. Like you can't help all those things, but like it's the excuses I feel like are kind of dry. And it's like he's not performing. He didn't take advantage of his opportunity this year, unfortunately.
Yeah, I will say I do think he's a better hitter than he showed this year. Or at least I hope so, because he's shown that is in the past. He just comes up. He was coming up, and it just seemed like he was just hacking at everything. Didn't matter where it was, what pitch it was. Like no plan of attack at the plate. And yeah, like you said, the bat speed down. Like just what happened to the Barrel King? Like he's got that perfect bat path, and he just not getting to it, and it was kind of just spiraling. And I was kind of calling for a mental reset, send him down just to get his confidence back much earlier. Because, yeah, 3.6% walk rate, that's insanely low. And the strikeout rate was improving since he made his first major league appearance in 2023, went from 30% to 29% and then 27%. But to sacrifice what kind of damage that you're doing at the plate. And honestly, even if he can become the hitter that we always thought he could be, like a 250, 20 home run type of guy, not a cleanup hitter or anything, but just like a solid Barrel King, just doing some damage when he makes contact. The defense is just not major league quality. And it's sad to say he's 26 years old, and a lot of that is out of his control because of the myocarditis and the lost years there. But he's getting older. I don't think his defense is going to drastically improve, and he's just not a major league outfielder. He proved in the minors he couldn't play first base, so he's a glorified DH that can't hit at this moment in time. And I hate to sound harsh, but that's just what it is. And I do think he can be a better hitter than that, and maybe, can still carve out a role with this team. But honestly, I'm just not sure. And I was of the opinion that he should have been the guy you were centering an offseason trade for a pitcher, top of the rotation arm or middle of the rotation arm. And obviously I didn't see this season coming. I still was high on him at that point, but clearly in hindsight, that would have been selling high on him. So, rooting for him. Hope he can bounce back and at least be the hitter that we thought he could be, if not the defensive capabilities that we would hope for a corner outfielder.
Yeah, and to be clear, I never had high expectations for Kjerstad's defense. I don't think either of you did either. What I had hoped was that it could kind of get to the point that the Orioles were with Anthony Santander, where it's like, are the metrics particularly good? No. But you pair him with a good center fielder in a ballpark with a short right field, and it'll be fine. And you'll get enough production out of the bat to offset that. But not only did the defense not even look like, typical Santander, it wasn't even up to that level, the bat was just nowhere to be found. And we know what the formula is with Kjerstad. He's not necessarily a high exit velocity guy. He chases after a lot of pitches, but he consistently barrels the baseball. And some of the numbers that Nick pointed to are alarming. The fact that the bat speed has dropped, his barrel percentage this year was really bad. And you factor that in with the fact that the chase rate was really bad. The whiff percentage was bad. He was not walking at all, striking out at a clip of almost 27% and not hitting for power to go with that. And it's not a good formula. I do think the one thing that helps him, though, is that if the Orioles continue to struggle, I feel like they have to give Kjerstad at least one more shot, because what else are you going to do? If they trade Ryan O'Hearn and or Cedric Mullins at the deadline, Kjerstad's probably the guy that's going to come up, and he'll have 2 months to show what he can do, even if it's as a DH left-handed platoon option, because you don't want him in the outfield. At least that's something. But I do feel like he is kind of hanging on by a thread a little bit. I will tackle on this question. Does what happened with Kyle Stowers give you guys any pause of maybe giving up on Kjerstad too early, or do you think this is a different case than Stowers?
Hasn't Kyle Stowers turned back into a pumpkin? Isn't he rough again? Shocker, Kyle Stowers is who we said he was for the last 2 years. He had a hot stretch. Congratulations. That's great to see. But Kyle Stowers is Kyle Stowers again. I'm just not too concerned about that. Just because, like I said, it's hard to find something offensively to point to other than yes, we know what he did in the minors, but he hasn't really been able to do that in the major leagues this year. And he had full runway, and he just the wheels didn't even get off the ground. He just veered right into the fence. I just don't know about here with Kjerstad. It's frustrating too, but at the same time, the way I look at it, it's yeah, this is frustrating, and this sucks that we have to have this conversation about Kjerstad. And could he not pan out and just fizzle out and remain in the organization and fizzle away into nothing? Probably. Does he get traded and find a new home and find success? If that's the case, then great for him. He deserves that. I wish him all the best. I wish all these guys the best when they leave the organization. Unless you go to New York or Boston, then go flame out for all I care. But I wish all the best of these guys. But at the same time, Colton Cowser stepped up. Colton Cowser's a dude. Stop running the walls, but he's a dude. Jackson Holliday's going to be an all-star potentially this year after last year. You're going to miss. Maybe this is just a miss. That's just all it is, I think.
Yeah, and on the Kyle Stowers front, since May 24th, his last 63 plate appearances, he has a 3 WRC plus with a 153 batting average, 017 ISO. Yeah, he came right back down to earth, 32% strikeout rate, 6% walk rate. So, yeah, I think Kyle Stowers is who we thought he was, which is still, I like Kyle Stowers. I think he'll have his stretches where he is an above-average player. But I'm just not going to be worried about what these guys are going to do after, because they're going to do that, and I'm rooting for them anyway. So I want what's best for the Orioles, and I'm not sure if Heston Kjerstad's what's best for the Orioles anymore. And I hate to say that.
And for that does it for us this week. We will be back next week to break down all the latest news in Birdland. In the meantime, you can check us out on our many social media channels, including Facebook, Instagram, Threads, X, Blue Sky, TikTok, YouTube, and Twitch. We're also over at Substack, OriolesOnTheVerge.substack.com. And while you're browsing around the internet, be sure to head over to our Patreon community and sign up to become a member at the $3, $5, or $10 levels and have access to bonus weekly coverage from Bob, Nick, and myself, patron exclusive channels in our Discord, monthly updates to our top 50 prospects list, and more. So head over to patreon.com today to check that out. For Bob Phelan and Nick Stevens, this is Zach Spen. You've been listening to Orioles on the Verge, part of the Believe Podcast Network.